Good morning, I'm Frank Powers, and this is Lifestyle Tucson, the program where I speak to our neighbors, the people behind the scenes of our amazing organizations, small businesses, and nonprofits. Our friends are informing you how they serve our community, and they are here to give you updates on future projects. Let's make some new friends today. Mission Garden is a living agricultural museum of Sonoran Desert-adapted heritage fruit trees, traditional local heirloom crops, and edible native plants. Mission Garden is located at the foot of Sentinel Peak at the site of the Native American village of Cuk Ṣon, a place sacred to the Tohono O'odham Nation. Mission Garden is thrilled to announce the launch of its inaugural Native American Art Fair, celebrating Indigenous Arts and Culture, happening on Saturday, November 16th from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. This expanded event will highlight the rich artistic traditions and cultural heritage of Indigenous communities from across the region. The fair will feature over 40 Indigenous artists showcasing their extraordinary craftsmanship in ceramics, baskets, clothing, jewelry, carvings, paintings, beadwork, gourd art, and more. Guests will also have the chance to savor delicious food from local vendors. And today, I'm fortunate to speak with Dena Cowen, curator of collections at Mission Garden. Dena, how are you doing today?
I'm fine. How are you?
Doing all right that you're here, as well as Alyce Sadongei, executive director of Mission Garden. Alyce, welcome to Lifestyle Tucson.
Thank you, Frank. So good to be here with you.
I'm excited to talk to you because what a great organization you guys are. And I was looking all over your website, which is gorgeous. And I implore everybody to go check out that website. We can look at it together over at missiongarden.org. And that's a little bit of what we're going to be doing today. We'll take a little bit of a virtual tour going through the whole website, everything you've got going on, because you can't talk about a garden without photos. And there's so many beautiful photos on your website. But before we dive into all of that, why don't you give me a little bit of a 101 on what Mission Garden is all about?
Mission Garden, as you said, Frank, is a living agricultural museum that inspires people to connect to this land by reclaiming agricultural traditions for our community in a changing world. So what I want to elaborate here for folks is that our inspiration is because these plants that were introduced here from a lot of folks, a lot of travelers, but mostly, again, starting from the indigenous presence of the O'odham people that were there at Chuk Shown, those plants were made and, as to speak, they were like born here, right? They know how to live in this desert environment, the arid climate, the water, all of that. They know that. Those seeds know. And we want to inspire people to do that kind of growing in their own backyard. We want to inspire people to know where their food comes from, how best to use the plants in a way that is suitable for this environment. Because as you know, there are people who are born and raised here, like Tucsonans, yay, but there are a lot of people that have come from different places. And we hear from visitors that whatever they tried to grow at home doesn't work here. They can learn how to do that when they come to Mission Garden.
Sure, I always say, what does a Tucson accent sound like? It sounds like somewhere else. That's what it does a lot of the time. You could tell from me, the old classic cowboy I am from New York. But that's what's great about what you're doing is it's all about the cultural and the rich history of everything that happened here long before a bunch of these European folks showed up. So that's the thing about everything you've got going on is seeing's believing and sampling as well. And you get to kind of walk around and sample all these different areas that are bits of history throughout the garden. I was actually looking on the website about the bookworm path. It's a nice long way to walk around, take your time, lots of spots to sit, look things up, and do a lot of fun things. And it really gave me the good bird's eye view on the map of the entire layout of Mission Garden. Let me ask you this. How big is it?
It's 5 acres.
5 acres of history right there. That's fantastic to see because I was wondering once I saw the map, I was like, well, wait a minute. I'm not sure if I realized what I'm talking about. It's 5 acres and all these little kind of plots of land with different themes and even tomorrow's garden where you've got plans for the future. I saw some of the original layout for what like the vision is, where it's very green and very big and grown. And it's fascinating to see what the goals are for Mission Garden. Tell me more about it as I'm looking at the map and we're looking at the map together, just about the layout of the land.
Another thing, apart from sharing a lot of culture and knowledge about the plants and the recipes and the agrarian lifestyle and traditions, also about Tucson's history culturally is really diverse and really fascinating. People have been cultivating on this same site continuously. It's the longest continuously cultivated agricultural site in North America, as far as we know. So it's a really special historic preservation that we have of our birthplace. So we kind of share the cultural history of our place and connect people to the land and the history of the people too. So the O'odham, even before the first farmers, going back 4,000, some people now, the archaeologists are saying even 5,000 years, people have been cultivating in the same area along the Santa Cruz River. Also the O'odham people, Spanish, Mexicans, Chinese, Yaqui or Yoeme, African American. So it's a really culturally diverse and rich history we have here. So it's a good way to get in contact with the plants and the people and how people and plants are connected.
Very much. And it's so interactive. As you can see right here as I'm looking on the map. Again, I ask everyone to look along with us if you're able to do it, not driving. Go take a look at missiongarden.org. You can see that they've got one area, there's the Spanish colonial vegetable garden. Then you've got across that Spanish colonial field crops. Then there's Tomorrow's garden. You've got territorial statehood garden and various other gardens, a Chinese garden, a Mexican garden, the youth garden. Tell me about it. Is that what they're there to see? Like where you've got all these different cultures in this one spot on the 5 acres, where you get to visit each different garden. As I look at this again, trying to understand scale, about how big is the Spanish colonial field crops or the Spanish colonial vegetable garden? How big is that?
So the Spanish colonial orchard is about, I would say, half an acre.
Wow.
And it has the vegetable garden in it. The field crops, over time, we've kind of tried to make the whole garden a little less Spanish heavy. So the field crops would be also what the Mexicans were growing, the Chinese were growing, the O'odham were growing. So now we're just calling them field crops.
Okay.
And also there's a medicinal garden, and there's a whole garden of native plants. So native edible plants that people have been harvesting from the wild plants for millennia as well to this day.
Do you get to sample fruits and try different foods right there?
Pretty much every time you come to Mission Garden, you get to taste something. Of course, it's not a pick your own. You have to, with the staff and the people there. But we do have a special tasting history every second Friday and Saturday of every month where we focus on one specific crop. In November, it is squash. We're going to also be collaborating on this specific celebration with Iskashita Refugee Network to kind of raise awareness about this plentiful food and all the different ways that it can be eaten and also grown in this area, and the traditional and also new traditions around squash.
November 8th, so you can go get all the details right
And
there. November 8th and the 9th. So there's a fun weekend. That's exciting. I'm looking at all your programs and events. We can look at some more together as we get into November. There's Birds of Mission Garden the next weekend. And then you've also got the Native American Arts Fair. And we're going to be talking big about that. And in fact, why don't we dive right into it? Because it's a really big deal to be shining a spotlight, as you were saying about it, on this. So tell me all about this big event that's going to be happening on November 16th.
So the Native American Arts Fair has been an event that's happened at Mission Garden since 2019. And we have grown to include other tribes from all over. And I think it initially started with a focus on the Tohono O'odham artists. But we've taken advantage of November being Native American Heritage Month. And so we are featuring this year cultural sharing, which includes songs and dances from 4 different tribal groups, some from the area, some that have a tie to this area, and then others from out of northern part of the state to showcase that culture and so that people can learn a little bit about the Native American presence within the state. So in addition to the cultural sharing, we'll have artists from working in a different variety of genres come and sell their work, and we'll have some session where people will show and talk about their craft, what they make, their artwork, and then we'll have food. And it's really a chance for the artists themselves even to come together, relax, enjoy each other, enjoy the day, and just share some of the culture. So we're looking forward to having everyone come down and share that day with us.
It's going to be a really nice day. The weather will finally be with us, I'm sure. So it's a good excuse to get out there. I can see a couple of the food trucks listed are La Indinita and E&J Fry Bread, who I believe I tried some of them at Tucson. Meet yourself, and I love it. It's delicious. You can't get enough fry bread. But there's so many things. It's from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. on the 16th. I can't wait. It's going to be a really good time. If you don't know where Mission Garden is, it's at 946 West Mission Lane here in Tucson. It's worth the trip. So if you listen to this from somewhere else, come on down. We're going to make history at this big fun event. What is the most important part of this? I would ask you in the past, since you've done it several years, what are you looking forward to most this year?
Oh, well, it's just wonderful to, as a gathering, as a cultural center, we have so many special cultures here, and it's really beautiful to see the artistry and the cultural sharing, and this year it is going to be more special. It's expanded. We're expanding to include more dance and song, storytelling. So it's going to be even more special this year, I think, than it ever has been. So I'm really looking forward to just gathering and seeing everybody.
It's just beautiful. Again, I've experienced some like native traditional things at various events downtown. You can be moved. It's really something to feel it, to not just watch it, but feel it. Because there is something to the performance, to this music, to these rituals almost. And I love seeing it. And if you've never experienced it, this is a great pinnacle event in which one can really connect and or reconnect some of this heritage and history that's right here in our great state, but specifically in Tucson. And that's what's really important and what makes this area just so impressive when it comes to culture, and I think Mexican culture, and honoring also the native culture that we should, of course, really pay attention to, us specifically here in Tucson, to make sure it's not forgotten about and or whitewashed away. So it's really important that you're doing all the great work that you do and this great event. So as I'm looking at your events, let's talk about some of the other things going on, because that's what's awesome. You're always up to some stuff. There's all these things going on past this and into the holiday season. So what are some of the fun things that you have planned as we get closer to December and the Christmas season?
Well, we haven't mentioned O'odham traditional agriculture that happens every third Saturday also. Rather than having tons of big, huge events, we're presenting programming that is kind of ongoing. So every month we have the Tasting History, every month the O'odham Ag Day, the Archaeology Day, the Healing Herb Walk, the Bird Walks. So people can come visit us not only just during the big events, but also just on a regular basis to see what's going on.
I know, and it's all right here on the events page, which is great, because that's the other thing I was very impressed about. It's like, wow, there's so many activities going on. And I'm willing to bet that, some people just got to know about it, to know that there's always something to do at Mission Garden. A healing herb walk sounds fantastic. All right, I'm sure I could use a healing herb walk, okay? I think we all could these days. But let's talk about other things going on there. And one of the things that I always like talking about is volunteering. How can people get involved with Mission Garden? There's a lot of ways to do it.
If you want to volunteer at Mission Garden, you can go to our website, and there is an application to fill out and submit, and we will review and get back to you, and you can choose from all of the volunteer positions that are available at the garden. We have some descriptions there, and hours and schedule and ways to get involved, and we really, really appreciate all of the volunteers that have been there throughout the years at Mission Garden, and we're very eager to welcome more. And you don't have to know about gardening. You can learn. There are other places if you don't like to be outside. We have different positions that you can also help. And we're a very small staff. We're a mighty staff, but we can always use that help because that's 5 acres. 5 acres to help interpret, to care for, to water, to weed, to help with tasting history, the public programs, to help with the bookworm path, to help maintain the target audience for that, the children and the books. And things like Native American Art Fair. I mean, we need help in so many places, and so just go visit our website.
There's a lot of volunteer roles listed, a lot of things, whether you want to be a gardener, work in the kitchen, be in the library, be a librarian, tons of public programs. Another one, my favorite word, a docent.
I could just say that all of these things that we're doing and we've done and we're going to do, we could never do it without our dedicated volunteers. It's just been really, really, really so generous. And not only just our volunteers, but also our community support. We could not do any of this without we've been really fortunate to have a lot of community support of all kinds over the years. So
that's right. Remember, if you can't donate your time, you can also donate some money and help out this great organization, especially if it's something you care about, especially if it's something that you feel inside that you're like, this is a part of my heritage, or this is part of who I know, maybe my best friend, maybe someone I've experienced, a teacher that influenced me, that I can actually help give back to the heritage of this person's life by donating just a little bit of cash, all right? And I always put it that way because, again, you can't just rely on Native American folks to take care of this, can you? No. Step on up and take care of your community. That's what's important. And I always recommend donating what you can, whether it's time or a little bit of money.
And we are free. There is no charge to enter the garden and take advantage of all the public programs and the experiences. That's something our board of directors wanted early on and something we keep. I mean, what does it cost to take a family to the movies?
A lot.
Or to some other cultural events. You don't have to pay anything. It's free and it's beautiful. The only drawback, of course, is the summer heat. We are at that mercy, being an outdoor garden. But as it cools down, come out and enjoy yourself. And it's free and open to everyone.
I was going to say, you beat me to that question. I was like, and how much does this opportunity cost? It must cost thousands of dollars to get in to the garden. But no, free, amazing. And when can people come visit?
All winter long, we're open from 8 to 2, and during the summer months, we're open from 8 to 12.
Wednesday through Saturday.
Yes.
There you go. All right. So make sure you go get all that information and make sure that you get ready to go because it doesn't cost a dime. And it's a really good, exciting way to go learn about the history and maybe, I don't know, bring a kid and learn something. Why don't you teach someone about some of the rich history here in Tucson? And I think that you also have group things that you can do there if there's like a school that wants to visit. That's also on the website. Get your homeschool groups involved. Take your kids to go learn about history and learn about our cultural history here in Tucson, here at Mission Garden. So now let me ask you this. If there was a secret about Mission Garden that we may not know, what is that secret?
It is a nice green oasis. Many visitors have said that. And it also has how do I say this in a not a woo-woo way, but people come in and say they feel something, that they feel maybe it's the relief from being away from buildings in a place where it's green, where there's plants. We have a replica of a canal, the acequia, that the O'odham people put together, Hugam people put together, that would divert water from the Santa Cruz to help water their crops. We have some water in there. It is managed by the state fish and game.
By us in collaboration with the Pima County Environmental Services and also Game and Fish Department.
We have endangered aquatic plants in there. We have endangered the minnow in there.
Top minnow.
That is also, you hear water. It is relaxing. That tells people that you can get out of the heat. And it is really a place to just come, take a deep breath, relax, and be inspired.
Yeah, Alyce definitely said it's an oasis in the desert, and it's also like a tactile, like a tangible way that you can actually taste history. That's why we have our Tasting History event, because we feel like by actually being able to taste and touch and smell and feel the history, it's a great way to learn and to really be connected to the land.
Yeah, I'm seeing is believing, but tasting, well, that's a sense all it's on its own. And that's super important. Again, get all the details over at missiongarden.org. And I love that I get to cheat because Arizona Public Media did a great story about you as well. And that's on the website. You can watch that video, learn all about this amazing organization, when you should go, and how long you could hang out, because you probably want to hang out for a good long time because it sounds like such a great place. Again, as a New Yorker, going to Central Park, it gets you out of the city, and it is like you feel it. You can get away from it and be in some green area. That feeling that you're describing there, to be in that oasis and to feel it. Let me just say, woo-woo. Nothing wrong being woo-woo about it. All right, you can feel it. All right, that's the spirit. People go to Sedona for these vortexes. You can stay right here in Tucson and go feel it right here at Mission Garden. And that's what I'm begging you all to do, because it just looks like a great day out and a fun place. And that's really something. I want to come visit for some of these events, and I might check it out on the 16th because I love art, and that's an important thing to go check out and support a lot of these local artists doing a lot of great things.
And one thing I wanted to say about the Native American Arts Fair is that we have some generous support from Desert Diamond Casino and also from the Rio Nuevo District to help us with this year's event.
I was going to say, you read my mind. That was my next. Is there anyone you wanted to thank? Because, again, there's the community, there's you donating, but we got to thank a lot of these sponsors that take care of the community, that do their part to make sure that they're a part of the community. And we wouldn't be able to do it without that. And that's important, too. Again, a lot of the good things have to happen through volunteering, through sponsor support, and getting these great organizations up and going. And this one's going strong. I really loved checking out and taking this virtual tour, and I can't wait to go absolutely walk around and enjoy the day with my friend Natalia. We're going to wait till that weather's a little cooler because Natalia likes to complain. So I'm going to just make sure that we have a fun day out doing that because I'm looking forward to it. Mission Garden looks great. And the last thing you got to do when you go to any place is go to the gift shop. And I said that's right here. The garden shop's got a lot of good stuff. Your logo's gorgeous, and I need a hat. There's some kids' book that I see, and I'll tell you what, nothing stopped me from getting some marmalade. That's right, I need some fresh marmalade. It's a good thing. They've got fresh eggs there. There's all these foods you can take home. Tell me more about some of the market.
Well, we actually have a commercial kitchen at the
Wow,
garden.
that's right.
And so a lot of times we have extra figs or extra quince or extra squash. And so our great volunteer kitchen crew, they make marmalade, orange marmalade. We have a lot of sour oranges, a lot of citrus in the orchard. And so we have some really world famous orange marmalade actually was featured in the New York Times.
Whoa,
You're from New York.
look out. No kidding.
But there's lots of other good things too.
Well, I hope that I didn't see that article. So you better post that on the homepage. That's ridiculous. All right. There's a lot of great things there. Cards, artwork, local, indigenous, and sustainable products, and a bunch of great stuff, books. Go check it out there. You can't buy this stuff online. You got to go there live. Yes.
Well, I must say, thank you, Dena, for bringing up the marmalade. But that was featured in New York Times because it also was a article about Linda Ronstadt. Linda Ronstadt, of course, being native from here, she has said publicly that Mission Garden is one of her favorite places.
Look at
So we thank her for the shout out she gives to us. We have people that come in on their Linda Ronstadt tours from all over and say, we want to come here because we are fans of Linda Ronstadt and we want to taste that marmalade. We actually had a waiting list. People were like, we had to limit the number of jars we had of the orange marmalade.
There you go.
And again, the volunteers are great. They're the ones that do all that. We couldn't have done it without them.
See that? And you live right close, so let's go down and have some marmalade. I can't wait to go to Mission Garden because today we made friends with Dena Cowen, curator of collections of Mission Garden, and Alyce Sadongei, executive director of Mission Garden. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This was Lifestyle Tucson. Bing bong bing, time for a recap. What a great conversation with those lovely ladies. I really enjoyed learning all about Mission Garden. And you should learn about Mission Garden because it sounds like it's just a great place to go relax and not just, learn about things, but just enjoy things, enjoy some of this nature, enjoy some of life. And again, a nice herb walk. I mean, give me a break. I like the bookworm tour as well. That's a great idea. Remember when I was talking about that? Take your time at Mission Garden because the weather is finally with us here in Tucson. Go learn all about it over at missiongarden.org. You can give them a follow like I just did at Mission Garden on Instagram. And I'm sure they got a page to like over on Facebook with Mission Garden being the thing to search for. So really, check it all out and don't miss a thing. We don't got to talk about the specific event because it starts at 8 a.m. till 4 p.m. next Saturday, but they're doing stuff constantly. So go check out their website, get involved with their events, and go visit this amazing oasis at the base of Sentinel Peak. So I want to thank our new friends at Mission Garden for joining me today. You've been listening to Lifestyle Tucson. If you're a nonprofit that would like to be on the show, email lifestyletucson@gmail.com. For more information about this program or to listen to something you may have missed, go to the Sunday Mornings page on klpx.com, kfma.com, mixfm.com, or espntucson.com. You can also subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, and Audible, or wherever fine podcasts are growing. Follow on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram at Lifestyle Tucson because I'm your BFF, your best Frank forever, Frank Powers. Toot toot Tucson. I love you the most.